In the previous talk, someone asked, have you read Lord of the Ring? And we got a couple of hands in the air. So I guess we have a couple of book lovers here. I hope so. And I'm going to make a wild guess right now. And I assume that you come to conferences because you enjoy being inspired by other people. And maybe it's also a break from your daily routine. And maybe even an opportunity to connect with new people or reconnect with people that you have not seen in a while. At least that's why I'm here. And today I want to discuss another way of finding inspiration, break from your routine, and connect with different people. Have you ever considered joining a book club? Anyone? Yes, cool, there too. Anyone in a book club now? All right. Well, and what about a book club at work? Yeah, no. Okay, we'll see. So I'm not a purist. When I mention book club, I mean any kind of facilitated group discussion on a specific topic. And there, when I read the title, I was like, aren't all my meetings facilitated meetings on a specific topic? So there's a trick. It shouldn't be related to your day-to-day task. That's what I thought. And then I thought, but in addition, you have to read a book, so there's some pre-work. But there was also a lot of pre-work in all of my meetings. But what is really, really setting book clubs apart is that everyone in the room chooses to be there. Think about that. So at Finn, we have a book club, and in Blocket, it's another marketplace company in Sweden that Schibsted owns. They have a podcast circle, and we have in Schibsted Data and Tech, we have also a AI paper lunch. So you could have a lot of different clubs, you know, like a TED Talk club or whatever. As long as you have this kind of source where you can find some interesting topics to discuss. So I'm not limiting the concept to a specific format. You know, anything you want works. But you need two things. You want to have people learning about a specific theme, usually a specific author, and people coming together to discuss. It's not purely asynchronous. But you can have it both physical or remote, or you can have a mix of the two. And the fun part is that you can also mix everything. So in our book club, you don't have to have read the book. You could have maybe watch a podcast or watch a video, an interview of the person, the author, or listen to a podcast on the same topic. As long as you come curious with an open mind and want to learn from other people's perspectives, that's fine. A good reason is a very subjective concept. So I picked two entities, a participant and a company. So should you motivate someone to attend a book club, or should you sell the idea to your boss to have to prepare for a book club during your work hours? Well, you have to use different argumentation. So I will go through 3 good reasons that you can flip around, and you can motivate those 2 types of entities. When I started at Finn, they handed me a reading list, 6 books. It's not too daunting. I mean, I really love reading, so I was not afraid. And I actually thought it was quite cool to get the list, because it's really nice to know what a company believes in, because that helps you to know if you are aligned or not. So when I saw the list, my first instinct was to start placing check marks. And I already read 4 books, so it was 2 more to go. And when I have a list of stuff to do, I usually put them on my to-do list, and it kind of expand. And I really like to kind of tick things off. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna read one of those. But before I started to read on my own, I asked around and was like, did you read all the books? No, you haven't read that one? Oh, okay, cool. So I kind of created the book club to start reading The Dog and the Peacock because I hadn't read it and I thought, interesting topic, nice to discuss with people. So I got 10 people to wanting to read it with me. And we just had our first meeting, and it was great, and we just kept at it. And Finn went through a big reorganization, and we have even more books to read. And that's just the list for how we think about product development. And there's a lot of areas we are going to cover. So it's a lot of books, even more books. So to have a company book club helps with alignment and fostering a deeper understanding of how things should work. And it empowers people to be more autonomous. So that's the first double reason to have a book club at work. The next double reason to join a book club is that you get inspired. And for a company, that translates into increased experimentation and innovation. Let's face it, it's impossible for everyone to keep up with all the trends and across every field. But when you gather a group that can crowdsource the books that are worth reading, you expose yourself to new domains and knowledge. And if you pick just one idea from every book you read, well, it becomes a substantial gain, both for you and your company. You know, it compounds. I may have stolen that from another book I'm reading. It's not in the book club, but Atomic Habits, if you have read it, really good. Up until now, our book club has read 5 books. Most of them are about culture and inclusion. I might have something to do with it, maybe. Lastly, a book club can help to build connections. Because no matter how you organized your company, like the structure, there are always groups that forms and it creates silos. And no matter how social you are, it's quite hard to be exposed to everyone. So a book club bridges these groups and it bridges gaps between those silos and it brings people together. It's also a good way of connecting with people in different levels in the organization. And what's great about those connections is that you get diverse point of view, you know? It expands your horizon beyond your own silo. So while the books themselves, they are great and they give you different perspective, having in addition the reflection of others is really cool. What amazed me is that we all read the same book, but we have a lot of different takeaways. And we read the same story, but our different experience with the topic might give very different reflections. So for participants, it builds bonds and network, and for a company, it builds engagement and belonging. And if you think about the pandemic and work after the pandemic, you have a lot of people that feel disconnect with their work. You have the quiet quitting phenomenon. And every company is looking for reinforcing belonging and engagement. And I think this kind of groups is a really good thing. So here you have it, 6 reasons to start a book club at work. When we started, we were about 10 people. Now we are 85 in our channel. And I'm not expecting everyone to read every book and everyone to show up every time. But still, it creates some kind of social bonds that would not been there. It also creates a deeper alignment. And for me, it gives me opportunity to connect with people I would never have met on my day-to-day work. And it's easier than you think. I just Googled book club best practices. That's not hard. We already had the first book, The Parable of the Dog and the Peacock. And after that, we just crowdsourced the other books. We got several things, and then we just vote. Whichever books get the most votes, we read. Very democratic. Very simple. And then, what is super important, though, for a book club is to have a good discussion. And to have a good discussion, you want to be prepared for your first meeting. So we decided to be very inclusive and have a combination of on-site and remote. And we also wanted to do it during the work hours because, you know, parents, they have stuff to do after work. So it's kind of nice to have something during your work hours. So we decided to have it before lunch so that after you could have lunch with your colleague that you don't talk to very often. And, well, having a good discussion is super important. So you need to have, we provide a reflection guide, and we cover 3 themes. Your experience with the book, like did you enjoy it? Did it resonate with you? And then more reflections, like what will you take away? Like what are you gonna do after you have reading this book? Is anything change in you? Like, are you starting something new? Or stopping something, that's also important. And then you have the third reflection theme, which is about what do you want to bring to work? Like, how could we change the way we work? So it's better for everyone. And then I got help from a designer to make a nice mirror board. And you see the 3 themes that I just explained. So now it's just about, well, for running the session, so we use that Miro. And it's also very important that everyone has the opportunity to share, because you want to listen to all those different takeaways and perspectives. But not everyone has to share on every topic. It's usually quite a lively discussion. It's pretty nice. And now it's all about keeping the spark alive. So we write book reviews when we have read something, but also when you stumble upon like a really cool topic or a really cool book, we just upload it and say, oh, check that out. And it goes into the list of the potential book to read. So that list is actually really, really long right now. But one at a time, it works. So now you know, it's easier than you think, and you just pick the concept that you prefer, like book, podcast, combination, and start meeting and sharing. Thank you.